Welcome to NFL Daily, where we broke our New Year's resolution on New Year's Eve. I'm Gregg Rosenthal. I'm here in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio with my friends Jourdan Rodrigue of The Athletic and Colleen Wolfe.
Hello.
And yeah, I didn't have a plan for how I was opening that show until I was talking, and it's true. I got a parking ticket this morning. And one of my New Year's resolutions was to make it through an entire year without getting a parking ticket for the first time in Los Angeles.
Impossible.
And I literally made it till this morning and parked and didn't feed the meter while I was getting a smoothie because it was going to take like 6 minutes, and somehow got that ticket in the 6 minutes.
They were waiting for you.
You didn't feed the meter when this was your New Year's resolution?
Well, it's December. By then, you've forgotten about it. And it's just one of those things. I was like, I want to make it through 1 year. It wasn't the only, 1 year without getting a copious amounts of like tickets and stuff like that. And it's gotten better. And then it happened. And I was like, this is too much.
I love that you're giving up already.
No, it was last year's. And I'm saying I made it till now. I was so close.
That was my first thought too, though. It was like, screw it.
That's what I mean. I was so close.
Oh, that's impressive.
You would think that being
Wow.
that close, you would remember to feed the meter for 6 minutes, but that's just my one person.
Right. No, because
Yeah.
then what happens
Right?
in life is you try to improve at certain things, and then you do. And then you just get a little too comfortable in yourself, and you start going back to the bad habits of like, it's only a couple minutes. What does it really matter? I'm going to be in and out.
Way to go.
It mattered, turns out.
Welcome to our last See You Next Tuesday of 2024. Although we will see you next Tuesday. I believe Colleen will be here. She's back after being home, and she's wearing a sparkly New Year's Eve type of hoodie. I love it.
It's a sweatshirt that has sequins on it,
Ooh.
so I
Love
can
it.
be casual and fancy at the same time.
She contains multitudes.
Exactly.
And how was your Christmas? Your twin Maddie was
Maddie
here?
was in town. Yeah,
You have a twin?
I have a twin. Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah,
ripped around
it's
a
a
little
whole
bit.
thing.
Yeah, she is now headed to another scientific expedition for the next 6 months, so I won't see her. Very proud of her. Yeah, Maddie.
Where's she going?
I can't tell you.
Oh, even more interesting.
It's very
Whoa.
like 1990s sitcom, like the twin sister, and one of them's like this crazy secret marine biologist, whatever. I don't even know, making secret missions. And Colleen is back from home. How are the wolves?
They are great. Everyone is good.
How is Tim doing?
Tim is very good. I spent 2 days with my family and developed a case of rosacea. On
Okay.
My face. So
No.
Okay, so it's going to be a big show. It's a very festive show. We are going to be doing New Year's resolutions. Last week, Jourdan and I had reasons for joy for the AFC, but it felt like resolutions was more thematic. So
Yeah.
we will do NFC, so that if, all the AFC fans heard of their teams talked about last week, we will do NFC this week with New Year's resolutions. And then we're going to read some of the Christmas cards that our listeners,
You guys.
and then we're going to get out of here and go celebrate or do whatever you want to do. Just chill.
Okay.
I actually teared up when you posted the pile of Christmas cards.
Wait.
I know. I'm a sappy fool. I know. But it just was so nice. Like it
You
just
teared up. I was like crying in the locker room, and I'm like, I hope nobody walks in right now because
Oh
they're gonna
my
be like, "What's
gosh.
going on with you, Colleen? Are you okay?" I was just sitting there. The show had ended. I sat at my locker and cried reading these cards because they were really, really
Aw.
nice.
Okay, I'm going to need you to save that emotion. That was really good, but save it for the segment. when
Well,
we
it's not
get to the
fake, Greg,
cards, and then,
so no problem.
bring it back and really lean into it. We're trying to get the family crowd here for the holiday season. But yeah, we'll do resolutions first, and we're going to go through just quickly. Each team just kind of throw out a quick resolution. We can comment on it. But last week, it worked well. We did not have a clock, but we just decided we're going to move at a quick pace. And if Eric believes we're honking too much, he can play a little sound to just sort of move us along.
I love
move
how
us along.
festive that is every week.
And so we've assigned all the teams out.
Mhm.
And Colleen, you got an extra one. That was,
Yeah, I know.
That was
I
your extra
noticed.
present.
I was
I had to decide, will she be offended if she has one less or offended if she has one more? I went with one more because you missed last week, so you have catching up
I
to do.
figured that was the reasoning. So,
And
but
you're
that's
gonna
fine.
start with the Eagles. I gave you an
Okay.
easy one. to
Oh
start
wow.
with.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. My resolution is I'd like to show more patience and kindness towards Nick Sirianni.
Oh.
You know, there are plenty of things that I'm just like, why? What are we doing here? What is happening? The whole thing with Zach Ertz, like, I guess, like, there was a high five that was too much, and then comments were exchanged after the Eagles and Commanders game, so they needed to be pulled apart, and then taunting your own fans after winning against one of the worst teams in the NFL by 4 points. Wearing the Beat Dallas shirt, that wasn't great. Being criticized for bringing his kids to the post-game press conference to be used as shields. So, you know, there's plenty of things that we could talk about that are kind of annoying here and there. It feels like a little immature and petty, some of the things that he does. But I had this realization. And I was like, you know, the things you hate in others are the things you hate in yourself. And I'm petty and I'm immature and I have no filter. Thank God I do in front of a mic. But I'm always ready to throw down as well, especially if someone is going after my friends and family. Only I'm allowed to do that, okay? So what I'm saying is, like, you know, Nick Sirianni, deep down, maybe I am him. And I'm gonna stop with this mirror right now and look past the mirror and look at his achievements and what he's done with this team and the success that he's had. Listen, he has the highest winning percentage of any head coach in Eagles history, the sixth highest win percentage of any head coach, period, with at least 50 games coached in the NFL. 47 wins through his first 67 games as a head coach. Only 3 coaches in the Super Bowl era, I did some research on this, have more wins, and that's George Seifert, Chuck Knox, and Matt LaFleur.
Oh, wow. She got the honk right off the bat.
All right. That's it. That's it.
Oh, I
also,
love
re-sign Zach Bond.
Yes. I love what you said at the beginning. The comments were exchanged. And I just thought, can we now refer to him as Nick Comments Were Exchanged Sirianni?
Yes.
You know what? There is something about him, I think, that just rubs people the wrong way. And
Yeah.
I don't think that you have that in common with him. But a good point about the accomplishments, he is 47-20 as a head coach and has made the playoffs every time. Is that right? And went to the Super Bowl? Like, just saying, Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur and all these.
It wasn't me.
Good point. Good point.
Okay, all right, next.
Move on to
Start
the
and
Commanders.
stop.
You're up,
Roll,
Jourdan.
I love this.
Okay, Washington Commanders. I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody else. Well, it's a new year, and I'm feeling the love. My team has completely flipped the narrative from its toxic, haunted house vibe of the last era. We even saged the place and fumigated the old owner's office. I nailed the coaching and general manager hires. See, Ben, we don't need you after all. My franchise found its quarterback of the future, and I even got Cliff to start wearing socks. My home crowd was chanting my name, Josh Harris, on my team's way to its 11th win, our first double-digit win season since that Wonder Boy and his Wonder Boy staff and RG3 graced the halls in 2012. This is owning an NFL team. This is so much fun. I resolve not to ruin it. Adam Peters, cook. Dan Quinn, cook. I'll just stand in the back, enjoy it all, and throw money at you when you need it.
Ooh. I thought you were going to say, I'm going to stand back and not ruin it like I am with the 76ers.
Listen, I have some feelings about Josh Harris, all right? In general, he's a turncoat.
It's all a great point. Like, you think about where they were, and not just as a franchise with Dan Snyder, but even just getting turned down by Ben Johnson, and everyone's making fun of Cliff. And wait, is the socks like a real thing? What is that?
It just bothers me every time I see a photo like of him on the sideline or like in his house, his really fancy Cardinals meme house. He just doesn't look like he's wearing socks. And I'm like, aren't you cold?
He does the no-shows.
You know,
Oh.
aren't you
Yeah.
cold? It's like a young offensive coach thing. None of them are very good at their socks.
But he is very good at bringing out the best in Jaden Daniels. Like
I
the second
know.
half of that game, like, they were so creative.
How
He's
fun
beating
was that?
all of the allegations. All right, I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. And I wasn't nearly as creative as you guys with these resolutions. I kept it simple. And my resolution for them is let's just trade Micah Parsons for at least 2 first-round picks.
Ooh.
Now, I'm talking selfishly from my perspective. It'd be great content. I think it would be an exciting part of the offseason that it's not just them kind of like showing a little leg here. Ooh, Micah Parsons might be available, and they end up keeping him. No, let's actually trade him. You shouldn't be trading the best pure pass rusher that I've seen come into the league in the last 20 years. But if a team was going to, they are maybe that team. They're really good at draft picks. They do have a lot of huge salaries that are already on the books. And like if Khalil Mack can get 2 firsts and a third with the second coming back. I actually think Micah Parsons could get a couple of firsts, and it would be great content. February, March.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Cowboys are all about that content.
They are.
Right.
They've
And so
got
are
their
we.
hooks
We're
into
just
you
like the
early,
Cowboys.
Greg. They got
What?
your hooks into you early. They want you to talk about them.
Well, I think it's a realistic because he's kind of known as a little bit of a high maintenance guy behind the scenes.
After that Bengals game, like watching him walk off the field, I think it was that game.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of felt like really awful for him. It's like I kind of want to get him out of there.
Right, and he's not really the type of person you should be trying to trade, but I'm fine if the Cowboys make a big mistake.
Who do you want to see go get him?
Ooh. That's for another show. Colleen, you have the Giants.
Okay, I have the Giants, and personally, I think the Giants are doing everything right. No notes at this point.
That is why I gave the Giants to Colleen.
Or run it back with Ben McAdoo.
Yeah.
That's-
okay. Bring him back.
That's an option. But I think, getting a quarterback, they should do that. Leave whatever offering to any deities that they need to make things right with the universe. That could be another resolution for them. But obviously, Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, these were massive mistakes. And then having Hard Knocks there for all to document and hear the fallout from that can now just be replayed over and over.
Okay.
But they did get Malik Neighbors, so that's a positive. So things could be trending in the right direction. But considering their Week 17 win moved them down from number 1 in the draft to number 4 in the draft, that's right outside Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, and Travis Hunter territory. Not really sure what they're going to do. Maybe they go after one of the quarterbacks that doesn't stay in Minnesota. Whether it's J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold, I don't know. But honestly, I think they're doing just fine.
And you're kind of in a win-win situation as an Eagles fan this week. Like maybe have the backups lose to them and make their draft pick even worse. You should have just left it as you're doing great. Don't change anything. Just end it right there. All right, Lions and Jourdan.
I've got the Lions in 2025. We, the Detroit Lions, resolve to stay fun. Big changes are ahead. We might lose our mad scientist offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, to a head coaching opportunity. We're in the process of sneaking out one page of his ideas notebook at a time, photocopying it,
Ooh.
and then reattaching it before he notices that anything is wrong or missing. And brilliant defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is also going to be a top candidate this job cycle, too. Those guys would be so hard to replace. Refilling coordinator jobs after a deep postseason run is tough as it is. But we know what we're about. We're fully alive, an electric guitar power chord of a team with FU
Truly.
energy, but like in an enthusiastic way. On offense, we play with our food. We're smarter and stronger than you. On defense, we hit hard and we take no pity for our injuries. We're the goddamn Detroit Lions, and we're going to stay fun no matter what.
I like that.
Love
I
that.
like that a lot.
Love
Ben-
that. I
Ben,
can't.
could you please stay?
I know.
It could happen, although hold that thought. I can't remember a team, and you tell me if you can think of one, that had more support nationally from fans that were not their own fans than this Lions team that we've sort of seen grow up, and everyone is rooting for it. I'm genuinely worried about their situation, and I'm not remotely a
almost-
Lions fan.
They sort of are America's
I
team.
really think they are right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Bears. So, sorry, Jourdan. Our resolution was to go, get Ben Johnson. I think it makes sense.
Oh, no.
I just think
Well,
I had my doubts. Just make it happen.
Jeez.
I had my doubts that he even wants to be a head coach, which I would totally respect if he didn't want to or if he just wanted to wait for a long time. But Tom Pelissero was doing the coaching rumor / reporting buzz type of story on Good Morning Football, and the way he put it, Ben Johnson sounds interested in the Chicago Bears job specifically because of Caleb Williams, which makes a lot of sense, and because of the resources and the picks and all sorts of things going on there. And so that
In the
really
division.
made me think that this could happen as long as the Bears want it to happen. It sounds to me like this is the team. He's been waiting for a team, and this is going to be that team. And what a crazy division that would be to
Oh my
to
God.
compete in. But make it happen. If the best offensive mind, one of them certainly in the game, wants to coach your team, just make it happen.
The Bears are so far behind these other coaches in terms of securing like that dude for the future, right? They're already so multiple years behind on this process. So bringing someone in, taking a huge swing at someone high caliber, whether it is signing Ben Johnson or trying to trade for somebody, like that is absolutely what they need to be thinking about, is the biggest swing possible here.
Can you imagine Ben Johnson coming in and turning around the Bears because they have the talent there? The division would just be such a powerhouse.
I love that storyline wise, that there's just this division where there's all these like great offensive coaches, but I kind of worry about it for Ben Johnson.
Fair.
Just because the Bears seem to ruin everything, and I don't want them to ruin Ben Johnson. All right, Packers, you're up, Colleen.
Okay. Learn how to beat the best NFC teams in general in January, but in the postseason overall. Packers are 0-5 this year against the Lions, Vikings, and Eagles. 11-0 against everybody else. And 3 of those 5 losses, they've been by 3 or fewer points. So they've come really close in these games, but they're just like, they're on the precipice right now, and they just need to get over the hump. They're going to have to go through these teams too as a wild card. And currently as the 7th seed, they would go on the road and face the Eagles. So they need to kind of figure out what to do here. Obviously, they faced the Eagles in the first game of the season for them, and we saw what happened with Jordan Love. So now that they have Jordan Love and he's healthy and he's dealing, I don't know. Different results probably.
I hate that matchup for the Eagles and the Packers.
I do too. I don't love it.
I just worry.
I would love for them to not be the 7th seed.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and we'll do more of our New Year's resolutions for the NFC South and the NFC West. Back on NFL Daily. It's all been leading to this. Every show has just been leading to December 31st and Colleen reading those cards. It's going to be the capstone
I can't wait.
of our NFL Daily season. All right, Jourdan, you have the Saints.
It's a short one, both a personal resolution and a PSA from me to me and from me to you.
Oh.
Wait at least 4 games before getting excited about the Saints in 2025.
So true.
Remember September when the Saints averaged 44.5 points over their first 2 games? Yeah, then 16 points per game over the next 14 games.
Clint Kubiak, everybody.
The league average in 2024 is just over 22 points per game. Let's just sit back on the Saints this time.
That's fair. They're going to become that team now. Every year when someone looks really crazy good, surprisingly, after being 2-0, everyone's going to be like, remember the Saints with Derek Carr? It's like, oh, yeah,
that was quite.
You don't want to be one of those teams. You know who's one of those teams for me is the 5-0 Sam Bradford Minnesota Vikings, who the Around the NFL podcast fell in love with and made the team of the Around the NFL. And then they didn't win another game for like.
And then everyone was so gun shy about actually crowning a team of the ATN after that.
It's true. The Saints were kind of that team. I feel bad because, I had our friends from the Saints Black Party podcast on after they were 2-0. And after that, it just fell apart. Okay, one thing I do want to be better at is just staying organized and paying attention to details.
How's that going?
It's not perfect because I actually have the Vikings next.
Oh.
I thought we were done with the NFC North. For some reason, the teams are out of order here, and so
I forgot the Vikings one year at the draft when we were doing like shout outs. We had like a roll call for each division, and I just completely forgot about the Vikings. So I got booed the whole time.
That's a thing. Like they were talking about it on the broadcast this weekend, and Kevin O'Connell, I knowing Kevin a little bit, like he for sure has that chip on his shoulder. Like what about us?
They are. This
is incredibly good.
This is the What About Us week for the Vikings. Although it's going to quickly turn into everyone's picking the Vikings to beat the Lions this week, so they're going to have to handle that. And so now that they're becoming one of the favorites, maybe the favorite since they're the number 1 seed if they win this game, I'm just going to say, just enjoy this journey here, Vikings fans and the team. This is a special team. Arif Hassan wrote a good piece about it this week on his Substack, and he's a Vikings guy, and kind of telling all the fans to enjoy it. Don't be worried about the other shoe coming to drop. The problem is I want everyone to appreciate the journey and realize like it's okay if it doesn't end in New Orleans. You know, if there are 3 really great teams in the NFC, I think. If you lose to one of the other ones, you can be pretty disappointed. But if like the Eagles go to the Super Bowl or the Lions go to the Super Bowl, like it happens in sports. And this has been a magical journey that hopefully you have been appreciating like the whole time. Watching them just play this well, play so smart with so many great players, and they're not going anywhere. Like just appreciate it, even if it doesn't end in New Orleans.
Sam Darnold, he's been my guy all season long.
You did.
I feel like so. If I'm recalling correctly, you touched down back from Summer of Connie. And the very next show, I remember we talked about it. The very next show you did, you were like the Vikings guys.
Yeah.
And you were all in and you were right. And you stayed right. That's the thing.
I was like, but going into the season, I couldn't understand why no one else was looking at the Vikings as a team that's going to be good. Because come on.
Like they had Gregg's voice in their ear.
You're a seer. All right, let's go on to the Panthers.
The Panthers. Okay, here we go. Hold on, I got to turn my computer back on. All right, Panthers. Provide Bryce Young with some patience and stability for 2025. Look, things are looking up for Bryce Young. He's been playing better. He's had a 100-plus passer rating in each of his last 2 games. He only had 2 in his first 25 starts. We can see it just watching. He looks better. He looks more comfortable. Keep Dave Canales. Why don't we curb the coach firing just for a year, see how that turns out? Maybe, listen, I feel like a lot of the great franchises, they have patience, and we know that the Panthers do not. But the benching of Bryce Young earlier in this year, maybe it did actually work for him because he came back and slowly we've seen those improvements. And they have this young offensive core with Chuba Hubbard, with Adam Thielen's not like young, but they have a good Xavier Legette. I mean, they have some pieces that are all coming back in 2025, and they're going to have a top pick too. Right now they're slotted to be 6th overall, so they can add. And I mean, their run defense is terrible, so they could probably use something on defense. But also, it's like, just keep building around Bryce Young.
Yeah, they need a pass rusher. Derek Brown should be back next year, which would help. But he was once he left their defense, they just became a sieve.
Crumbled.
I think that one thing that I think Dave Canales has an advantage in coming into this year is he hired a lot of like relatively unknown assistants as well. So he'll be able to keep continuity. Lack of continuity compounds failure and failing franchises in this league, especially rush to judgment firings. And continued continuity actually helps, which was kind of redundant of me saying it, but it actually really does help set this foundation that they badly need.
Well, then they should keep Ejiro Evero, too, something to watch. I'm not sure if he'll stay there or not as a defensive coordinator. All right, Jourdan, you have the Cardinals. Once again, me not really being on my details. We're just going all over division-wise.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
In 2025, we, the Arizona Cardinals, resolved to develop a clutch gene. Sure, we need better players on defense, and we have to have a really big conversation about the quarterback, at least according to the media chatter on the ground in Phoenix. But mediocrity can't be our ceiling anymore. I mean, we fizzled out in a wide-open NFC West, in a 49ers down year, for God's sake. We have big ideas offensively and big players, except for the quarterback. We're ascending defensively. The epitome of our unclutchness was our shot at playing spoiler and antagonizing. Our NFC West big brothers literally bounced away off the helmet of our best player, who's one of the best players in the league. That's how not clutch we are. In 2025, we need to become clutch.
It's a good call, and they've had some nice continuity now. They're going to be building. It's that ever-important kind of third year with the same regime, but they have done it in the way that you want to do it. They took over maybe the worst team talent-wise in the NFL. You played above your talent the first year, whatever, 4 or 5 wins, but actually kind of looked fun doing it. Now you went up to 7. It's another 3-win jump. The hard part's doing the next part.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little more clutch. I like that.
Second half, I just feel like they collapse a lot in the second half.
Not clutch.
Seasons too.
Not
like
clutch.
just in general. Yeah, not clutch.
All right.
Got to figure that out.
I am going to go to the Atlanta Falcons, whose season, I've never felt like a team's season feels more over when it's totally not over, but with the Bucs playing the Saints this week, it just feels like the Falcons season is over. So I'm looking to the off season, and it's just get younger on defense. This is a more block and tackle type of resolution, but the worst thing to be is old and bad and kind of expensive, and that's what the Falcons are. This was supposed to be a win now type of roster.
People put this on dating profiles, too.
Yeah, and
Old, bad, and expensive.
on offense, they're not that old. Some of the offensive line is, but overall, it's not old on offense. But their starting defensive line was Grady Jarrett, Eddie Goldman, David Onyemata, and Matthew Judon, who are all over 30, some of whom are pretty expensive. In the secondary, like Jesse Bates is still their best player, but he's getting up there. Justin Simmons, that was like a 1 year older guy. And so They just need to get a lot younger and a lot more talented on defense. And yes, Raheem Morris needs to know how to use
Situational
timeouts.
management. The two-word phrase of the season for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
It is funny, though.
Getting crushed, though.
Playing Michael Penix these last 3 weeks is going to save the vibes. It is funny how good a move that is, because now just the fact that he played and you saw that he's good is like, okay, this season wasn't a waste. We're going to be good in the future.
He made some incredible throws in that game. That was such a fun one.
That was one of the best. All right, you
Rams.
got Rams.
Rams.
Wrapping it up here.
All right,
Almost.
here we go. Show up before the bye week next season. How about we try that on? This is a pattern now. Back-to-back years they've done this. This year, before the bye, they lost to the Bears and the Cardinals. What are we doing here? I understand a division game, but really, like the Bears? This is a team...
It was also by like 30 points to the Cardinals or something crazy.
I mean, ultimately, it didn't end up mattering because they're in the playoffs and they won the division, but with a better, faster start, at this point, they could be competing for a 2 seed. They could maybe have another game or two at home. So they just need to figure out a way to not stumble out of the gate.
I think, to that point as well, the monumental effort of climbing out of a 1-4 hole with an 11% chance of making the postseason at that time, that takes a strain. That puts a strain on a group. And yes, the vibes are good. It's a great locker room. It's a bunch of great young players and then some very, very savvy old dudes who could still roll when they're feeling good. But it's just so much. It takes so much out of you that you really wonder, what juice do they really have going into the postseason, because of how significant that strain of just like climbing rung over rung, like out of the pit.
It kind
was,
of, it reminds me of like how I prepare for shows. Like I know a show is
good.
coming and then like I just procrastinate until the very last minute and then I will cram 18 hours of work into like 2 hours.
See,
I don't need to do that.
I was thinking if they were like a living embodiment of a person or a story, it's like Matthew Stafford or some of these older quarterbacks who say, like, as you're getting older, in the league, the day after the game, it takes you a little while to get to the bathroom in the morning. You're walking slow to, getting out of bed and getting to the bathroom. Like, that is them as a team at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of every game. Like, they stink in the, like, it takes them like 20 minutes of every game to just kind of like knock the old bones out or whatever is happening.
People are watching on YouTube.
I really hope
We
they're
got a shimmy from Gregg.
let's go Rams, Colleen.
I just
no,
did
you
the
just did it.
Rams. Damn it,
We
Greg.
threw him off. We
Come
threw him
on.
off. We did it.
Do another shimmy.
Happy New Year to me and you, Colleen.
49ers, Jourdan.
Okay, my resolution, more so advice for 2025 for the San Francisco 49ers, rest. Sleep in. Practice a little self-care. For God's sake, Kyle Shanahan, eat something.
Oh, I know.
Then phone up Jerry Jones and ask to borrow his copy of How to Stay Unbothered While Your Quarterback's Impending Contract is in the News Every Single Day. Deep postseason runs and their 2 Super Bowl appearances in recent history, both losses. It takes a toll. Deep postseason runs and recovering from those runs, burnout, maintaining a coaching staff that's getting hired out of, losing coordinators, making decisions for veteran players, making roster decisions for a team that is getting older. All of this takes a toll, especially in the Mahomes era of football. So my resolution for the 49ers is just get as much rest as you can now that your runway's nice and long.
I think that's super helpful for them. I think they've faced all the problems of a dynasty in terms of like winning Super Bowls without any of the fun of it. Like the money, the selfishness, the wear and tear on your body, except instead of having the Super Bowl ring, you have these crushing disappointments. So it's a tough combo. I'm with you. I think the rest could really help them. It's good they didn't make the playoffs.
Treat yourself, go on a vacation, just do what you need to do to get right.
It's what makes Andy Reid all the more impressive to me as a slight aside, because I saw up close like what happened even when you win the Super Bowl and you just completely crash out mentally the next year. Like imagine doing that over and over and over and over again, win or lose. That's what these 2 teams, the Niners and the Chiefs, have been doing. That's what I really think subtly happened to the Eagles a couple years ago. It is a full-on body crash. You don't know why it's happening to you, but it's happening.
Ooh.
Almost got me.
Man.
And keep growing that hair out, Kyle. Be the over 40 guy like me who's like, oh, let's grow it out before it's too late.
They showed
You
like a
sound so
tight
worried.
shot of him the other day on the sideline, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I mean, I've been watching these games, but like I guess I haven't been like really keyed in on like Kyle Shanahan and what's going on with him. Is he okay? Do we know?
He has like a
It's been a
haunt.
rough
He
season.
has like a haunted vibe
He's a
to
bit
him.
haunted. Yeah.
I know.
and
I'm
stuff.
worried.
And just put his freaking dad in the Hall of Fame, by the way. It's like Mike Holmgren. We get it, but we were all there. Mike
He's
Shanahan
having
was
so
better.
much fun back there.
Bucks, easy. This one's awkward. Don't let Liam Cohen leave. You could do two things. You're an ownership group that's rich enough to, have invested in Premier League teams, and you're billionaires. So just pay an outrageous amount to just keep Liam Cohen as an offensive coordinator. If that's not an option, you have to think about a really difficult one, which would be pushing him to be the head coach. But I think it's really important to not let him leave, because he might be the one offensive mind in the entire league, including Ben Johnson, that I think could create the most with the least, because we've seen it. So I just don't let that guy get out of the building. I'm encroaching on our friend Dave Damashek's territory, where he thinks like an offensive play caller is worth more maybe than a quarterback. I don't know if that's true, but it's close enough that I don't think you can let Liam Cohen leave.
You got to throw what we in the biz call the Ben Johnson bag at him. Like, you got to throw the pile of money that they paid Ben Johnson to not leave. Phrasing was regrettable. I heard it. We all heard it. We just want to make sure Liam Cohen gets that amount of money and stays intact in Tampa Bay. Now I can't focus at all. But
Take care.
When
of
was
your own
when was
people.
the phrasing
we're
uncomfortable?
gonna skim right past it.
Oh no, I must find out now.
Listeners,
I overthought it to my detriment.
write in
Classic
and let
Jourdan.
us know if you know what she was talking
One
about.
last one before the New Year.
Let's wrap it up with the Seahawks.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to Google the other thing right now. Okay, Seahawks.
Don't Google.
Let's leave the land of mediocrity.
Okay, I
Because
finally got there. Yeah.
4 straight years, they have ended between 7 and 9 wins. So they're not good enough for a high draft pick, but they're like not in the playoffs either. So they just are like stuck in this limbo. And it's like football purgatory a little bit. Like what are we doing here? They need to, I mean, when you look at them, actually, we were just talking about the Falcons, and they are a lot like the Falcons because the Falcons have done that too. I think the two of them are tied for the longest streak of finishing with between 7 and 9 wins. So it just feels like they need to are they going to do a full rebuild? I know they brought in a new coaching staff, but like, what are we doing here? Are we going to build around Geno? Are we going to not have Geno? Are we going to essentially or get off the pot? Like, they need to make a decision one way or the other, what they're doing.
I hear you, but I think it's perspective. Don't let the Pete Carroll years infect what is a new coaching staff. You know what I mean? Like, first of all,
Patience.
they could land over 9 wins. They could get to 10. Everyone's acting like, how did you let the Rams like win this division? It's on some cockamamie 5th tiebreaker. If they win on Sunday, they're going to go 10-7. They had an over-under win total of 7.5. They're going to tie the Rams in, record, conference record, division record, common opponents, and it goes to this crazy thing. So it's not like
a very Seahawks way to miss the playoffs.
Right. I totally get
Strength
that.
of victory.
And then
absolutely.
my thing is, I think they did start to build something on the defensive side this year. Everything you're saying is absolutely true about the offense, that it's in this bad stasis right now. But for a first-year head coach, I feel like the disappointment locally, because I listened to your
Michael Sean
coworker,
Dugard,
Michael
Chris
Sean.
Kidd, great podcast.
I listened to that podcast, and they really think it's such a disappointment, like how this season has gone. Because if you're going to fire Pete Carroll, it's got to get better. And I think that's a tough way to evaluate a new head coach.
I think the reason they say that is because they have to endure watching this offensive line.
Okay, it's the
offensive line
Seahawks.
is atrocious.
It's one of the very unofficial teams of the podcast, but yeah,
well,
I know.
for you.
they could.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well,
It's
Coming
a very
next week, Quarterback Island.
Oh my God! Yay!
yes, we got to do a regular season recap of Quarterback Island, and it's not looking great for my guy Geno. He's made it. He's made it this far. That's an achievement in itself. But I'll just be real. It's not looking great. But your decision not to put Matthew Stafford on the end, which you took a lot of grief for
I did.
after that Bills game,
I did.
it's looking just fine now. I mean, the last time they, scored like 2 touchdowns in a game was a month ago. All right. I don't know if that's true. They did score twice against the Jets.
It will have been last year by the next time they play.
Let's break out those Christmas cards. Let's play
yay!
some festive music.
Okay.
We've talked enough football on NFL Daily
All
in
right.
2024. And so do you want to set this up too, for listeners that maybe
Yes.
weren't
Okay.
with us a couple weeks ago?
I don't even remember how this came up, but I was saying that I hadn't gotten any Christmas cards yet. And Christmas cards are like my favorite thing of the holiday season. I love to get them. I hang them on my door, or if I have a fireplace, over the fireplace, it's a whole thing. And I was just like waiting and going to the mailbox every day. It was so tragic. So,
Oh.
but don't worry, I did get a bunch of Christmas cards.
That's the
from
thing
my
is,
actual friends.
Yeah,
too.
people are last minute with them. It's a deluge suddenly right around Christmas because
But-
it's hard.
So I end up doing a show right before Christmas Eve, game day morning. I think it was on the 22nd. And in the corner of my locker, there was just like a pile of cards. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then I started opening them up and I was like, oh my God, these are the Christmas cards from our listeners. So
Don't show addresses if you don't mind.
no, there's no addresses here.
Okay, good.
So I got the fun ones where I have pictures of people's family and their cats too.
Ooh,
So-
a Falcons
God, they
and
have
Giants
outfits on.
household.
Yes.
It's been a tough decade for
It
that
has.
household.
I'm so sorry. Seneca, Julie, Meatball and Marmalade.
Oh.
Meatball and Marmalade are wearing jerseys too, which is so fantastic. And Julie wrote me like a really sweet note.
Say.
She's a big fan. She was an ATN listener from upstate New York. She apologized that I haven't gotten any Christmas cards yet.
Oh, Julie.
And she wanted to say, as a female NFL fan, thank you for all you do. And I'm so happy to hear you on NFL Daily.
Oh.
Really sweet. Very nice.
Oh my God.
So I love that. That really, I started to cry when I read that. I got actual like cards from,
Yeah.
and even like a one that's sent out, a mass one. This is like an individual card that has little notes all over it, and really, really sweet. Just, I don't even know. I feel like, what does this one say here? I think, P.S.
In
I want.
all, I submit. Okay. He wants an episode with an all vibes island.
Yeah, all
that was
vibes.
your idea. The all, vibes, island. Yeah.
Yes. So I loved that one, and that one was from.
Let's
I don't
read
think
the
it's signed.
submissions. He said it's from Jamal
Jamal Williams and
Jamie Alexander wrote this,
and
and his vibes island is George Kittle, Jamal Williams, and Jamie.
oh no,
that's
Jair Alexander.
I thought it was Jamie,
Not
like the
from
Irish.
Jair Alexander.
I thought it was like the Jamie, the Irish spelling.
Okay, and then we'll do
Handwriting
This
is
one
hard.
Relax. You got time. It's the
Caroline.
holiday.
I know. I feel like I'm getting wrapped. Caroline and Tyler Phillips. They also
Oh.
sent like a nice card
Oh, nice
with.
pooch.
I know. With
Oh
their
my
adorable
God! Look
dog.
at that dog.
I know.
Yep, that's where it gets me. Here I go.
This one was really sweet, and she called me Connie, so I know that she's a real one, Caroline. And she said, "You've made me realize it's okay to belly up to a bro-filled bar and talk ball with confidence."
Oh,
I love that.
here I go. That's it.
I know. So I was like a pile of mush, and then I got this one,
Okay.
which, this year my Christmas card is a celebration of the semi-feral cats and other creatures living in the neighborhood. All the cats are fixed, and we put out food for them every day. Although they don't let anyone get close, I can use a laser pointer from my window to play with them. Wishing the entire wolf pack a Merry Christmas. And it's the 12 days of Christmas with all of these
Oh my
creatures
God.
and a picture of the feral cats. So this was the last one I opened, and it was perfect because I
Let me see this.
was so sentimental and mushy and crying, and then I opened that and it made me laugh so hard. So I actually had these hung in my house on my front
I was going to
door.
say keeper. That's a keeper.
Yeah. Also, we might look for the address and register it with NFL security just to be safe.
No,
Like,
Michael Wu is fine.
it's cool. It's cool, but
That's so cute.
Yeah,
Let me see it.
just
That's
to be safe.
hilarious.
oh, that's really sweet. So thank you
Thank you.
to all the listeners
Oh, there's a
of
possum under the deck.
NFL
too.
Daily. You've made look our first year, 2024, since we got going here, really special, and we couldn't do it without everyone listening, and we couldn't do it without Colleen. And yeah, before we let her go, she does have a birthday coming up
Oh, no.
in just a couple of days. So let's bring out. We got her what I think she likes.
Hairspray?
2 things that I think she likes the best. Thank you, Chris, who's done a
Yay.
great
Oh my
job
God,
for us
wait,
stepping
really?
in for Randy.
Thank you.
Some donuts. What
Wait,
could
from
be
Sidecar?
donuts from Sidecar?
Is there really donuts in here?
There are so many donuts
Yes.
in there.
Whoa!
You have to actually eat them
Oh
all. You can't share
my
them with everyone.
God. Are you kidding me? You guys, this is so sweet. Look at these donuts.
And yeah, this is not sponsored, but if you're out there, Sidecar.
Sidecar is so good.
Shout out
it's
to
my
me.
favorite place. You guys know that?
And then on top of that, so I'm giving, hopefully your 2 favorite things, like a good sweet.
God, have some.
And then I'm also going to give to you, Colleen,
Oh no.
evidence that you were right. You were right.
Sam freaking
Oh my gosh. We have to talk about him every day.
Yes, we do, because
at with
I
this,
would
Greg.
love to remind you, Greg, that I've been talking about Sam Darnold and the Vikings since before the season started. I've been getting a little too high on the Vikings, and I feel like I shouldn't be. It's sort of the forbidden strain that I've been going with here, but the Vikings, like, Sam Darnold was always the plan for the Vikings. They were never going to go the other route. He was always going to
Colleen,
start
back
the
in August,
season.
of course.
And he's gotten almost all of the first team reps from the offseason program up until now. Justin Jefferson's out here telling Diana Sounds like I'm high.
Mm.
Rossini that he's surprised how good Darnold's arm is, that his passes are right in the hands and feel like a
You look so
soft
tan.
pillow.
I know.
That is true. That is a direct quote. So maybe I'm crazy, but everyone who is just already writing off the Vikings and saying that they are going to be worst in the division, I don't know, man. You got to think hard about that one. So, just for some context too, that last clip was we were supposed to be things that we were getting a little too high on. So I really leaned into the part.
You
I
nailed
committed
it.
to the bit.
I didn't even know that was the bit until we were actually taping it, and then I went along with you, and that was absolutely beautiful. But yes, those were the very clips that you just organically happened to bring
Aw.
up earlier in August and in September. You were right.
Thank you. That is
Nailed
the
it.
greatest gift of all. This is the most thoughtful gift that anyone has ever given me. Thank you.
Let's go. Love it. Thank you for another fun
you.
NFL daily. And the year is ending, but the week is not. We still have our preview show coming up on Thursday. Hit the music. Wait, you're going to Miami,
I'm
aren't
going
you?
to Miami.
Oh my gosh.
Less than 24 hours. Miami.
It's a first on NFL Daily. We broke up the music because we forgot.
Yes.
So celebrate your birthday.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday,
I'll be back
Colleen.
next week with stories, I'm sure of it.
Enjoy. We'll be back with Nick Shook in the studio, along with me and Patrick and Steve. That will be Thursday when we're wrapping up 2024. You know football is back.
You guys, that's so nice.